This is my box of inspiration. It's called a Commonplace Book, and today I want to show you how you can make one of your own. Good morning, good life. Welcome back to Amy TV, where we come together to help you go after the life that you want. Note-taking is something I'm a little bit obsessed with. I'm always trying to figure out how to get the ideas that are in my head or out in the world into a place where I can come back to them and review them and put them in a solid database, I guess we should say. So pretty much anytime I hear of a new note-taking technique, I get really excited and I want to hear about it because I want to try it to see if it works for me. You guys know I love my bullet journal and I love a lot of digital note-taking. I've been doing more note-taking on my iPad, and different things serve different purposes for me. The reason that this is such a big deal is because the biggest source of inspiration that I tend to get is from all of my reading. I do a lot of reading, mostly nonfiction and memoirs, learning about the lives and experiences and the skills of so many people who have basically written it all down for you so that you can absorb it. And I'm sure it's no surprise that I do a lot of highlighting, a lot of note-taking, a lot of underlining and starring in the books that I read. Or on Kindle, I'll just obviously highlight. If that stuff has such an impact on us and we want to take it further through our lives, whether we want to remember it tomorrow or use something in another situation in the future, it's not going to serve us to just be sitting there highlighted and, exclamation marked in a book on a shelf. That's why I really nerded out when I discovered what a commonplace book was. And if I'm being honest, the word commonplace book didn't get me excited. I think it's the person that I learned it from that made me take it a little bit more seriously. Now, if you're familiar with my morning routine, then you know that every single day I read a page a day out of the Stoicism Wisdom book, The Daily Stoic by Ryan Holiday. I don't just read a page a day just so I can get through it. I really do read a page a day because it's a book that you read a page per day. And it makes it very easy to absorb really big thoughts kind of condensed down into layman's terms by Ryan. If you don't know Ryan Holiday, he is the best-selling author of books like Trust Me, I'm Lying, The Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy, in addition to, of course, The Daily Stoic. And he writes a lot about marketing and culture and the human condition. His works have been translated in more than 30 different languages, and quite frankly, he's had an incredible impact on the world. So, of course, I'm a huge fan, and I follow him on social. I once saw him post about an article that he wrote called How and Why to Keep a Commonplace Book, and I immediately needed to know exactly what that was. So it turns out this is a tactic that he uses in his book reading process to compile all of the different notes and pieces of wisdom that he's acquired through that time. He reads a lot of books. This is exciting for me because, as you might know, and you may have seen a video from me, I have a book reading process so that I can take things that I've learned and implement them in my life. But I didn't have a really good system for compiling the things, all the things that I highlighted and note took about different books that I've read. And I read a lot of books. It tends to get overwhelming that you get done with one and you want to go execute on the thing. And so you put the book away and you go. There's still so many concepts that you can't carry forward in your mind, especially if you're me and you have the memory of a pea. So I got very excited about the idea around something that would help me organize all of those thoughts and quotes and passages so that I could reference them in the future. What I love about this is that I can connect with Ryan on this organization system as a creator. He's an author of books. He writes for a living. So the fact that he has this place where he keeps all these things not only helps him with reflecting on what he has read, but what he's planning to write and sort of finding what other people have said about different topics that he's planning to write about. I don't think I can fully explain this really well, and so I reached out to Ryan and I asked him to share a little bit more about the Commonplace Book as it pertains to his life as an author and as an avid reader. Because this video was so highly requested, I wanted to do it a justice, and so this is what Ryan wanted to share with all of you.
So one of the questions I get asked a lot is, how do I read? How do I break down the books that I read? So here are two of my favorite novels, What Makes Sammy Run, The Great Gatsby. And so you can see, as I'm reading, I'm either using highlighter flags, I just mark the pages and I highlight. And then what I do is I tend to write notes to myself, like, look, there's whole pages of notes. You can even see this book I've read multiple times. So I've gone through with highlighters, different colors over the years. I'm going through and I'm just marking things that I want to come back to later, that I want to think about later, and then I'm going to use later. So again, another novel, this is The Moviegoer. I've written about this for Daily Stoic a bunch of times. These are just the things that I'm marking, and then the notes that I'm leaving myself. And then I'm able to use those things in my writing going forward. And then these would go on 4x6 note cards, which would go into a book like The Obstacle is the Way. So all these sections, all these note cards were what made up the book, right? So these are just all note cards, that things I've written. So I'm transferring the knowledge that I've found in the book, and then the quotes that I've marked, and then I'm transferring that knowledge. So this is what the Commonplace Book ends up looking like. That's how a book gets made. But I don't think you just have to do this for books. I mean, I would be engaging in this process even if I wasn't a writer, just because it helps me synthesize and organize and recall the information that I'm figuring out in my reading. But the point is, like, when I see a copy of one of my books and it's filled with notes and highlighters and folded pages, that doesn't hurt my feelings as an author. That's like the highest praise that you can give a book. So tear your books apart, mark them, write in them, show the author that you're really engaging with the material. This is an incredibly meaningful thing you can do. This is high praise.
All right, so what's the elephant in the room? In both mine and Ryan's situation, the Commonplace Book doesn't look like a book, right? I just decided to go in the same direction as Ryan on this one because I really like the idea of all of the thoughts and passages and quotes and things on individual cards, so I could pull them out separately and not have to flip through an actual journal. Not to mention the fact that I've got enough journals to deal with at this point, and I felt like this was just going to be the right fit for me. By having each of these ideas on their own separate note card and in their own sort of categories, it's really easy for me to zero in on the thing that I'm trying to reflect on in my mind, or the thing I need to get inspired on, and just find exactly those pieces that I want to pull out and able to hold them in my hand, flip through them, maybe take them with me if I'm doing a writing project. I don't need the whole box. It just made it a much more versatile format to work with. Not to mention, it's kind of an endlessly fillable note card keeper. So I'm not afraid of like breaking out a notebook into sections and running out of room for a section. And you know, I'm just sort of a little bit of a perfectionist on that side of things. This is easier because you can just expand the different boxes if you need more room for one particular topic or multiple. Now, if you're wondering about the box and the card containers that are in it all came together in a purchase that I made on Amazon. So in addition to that and buying just standard sized note cards, I had my system ready to go as soon as I was ready to start putting ideas into it. For those of you who are more into the idea of a digital file or an actual physical notebook, I'm here for it. But to me, this box and buying it from Amazon and writing on note cards and kind of putting it together feels like the craft project I don't have in my life. So I feel like that's really fun for me. It's an inspirational craft project that I don't have to know anything about painting or drawing or being artistic whatsoever. I just get to write down things I liked. You can see in my Commonplace book, I have broken out the different card holders into more overarching topics. And they're not perfect. They're meant to be very, very big, broad topics so that I can kind of break things down into subtopics on the actual cards themselves within those different topic of boxes. If you decide to do something similar to this, you know, let yourself explore what these big topics are. I feel like they're the thing that my mind would go to. I don't think that there's the exact right list of topics that you need. It really depends on the type of content that you tend to gravitate toward and just how you think. If I'm thinking to myself, I really want to write something or I really need to read about gratitude right now, I'm going to want to go to a gratitude box. And so that was just the word that I chose based on how I knew I would think when I was reaching for that information. Okay, so how do I fill the Commonplace book? This is what my process looks like. When I've found a quote that I find interesting, sometimes I will write it down in like a digital note if I'm at a conference or if I hear something fleetingly, like I just put it somewhere where I'll remember it later and I'll pull out a note card. Versus when I finish a book, I'll probably pull out a stack of note cards and sit down for a specific period of time that I plan to reflect on that book. I write one quote or one passage on a card, or sometimes it takes up multiple cards. You can write on the back of it, depending on what kind of note cards you have, whatever. And I will put the source of where that came from at the bottom. So if I'm reflecting on one book at that moment, I'm going to end up writing the same thing at the bottom of the card a lot of times. The name of the book and the author. Because these cards are going to go into the Commonplace book where they're going to be surrounded by lots of other ideas from other books and other authors. So you don't want to not write down the source because you might forget where it came from later. We always want to know the source. This has become such a great reflection process on reading a book because when you go through it and you're highlighting things, you're very excited about it in the moment. But then being able to say like, okay, I read the whole thing or I read the majority of what I wanted to. Now I'm going to go back and look at those high points that I found in the book and rewrite them. You ever heard that terminology back in school when, you know, if you rewrite your notes, they kind of set in a little bit more? That tends to work for me. So I'm going back, I'm rereading what I found interesting, and I'm writing it myself for the first time on this note card. I feel like that really helps you to absorb it. It also helps you to realize whether or not it was as big a deal following up on it as it was the first time you read it, and kind of assess, is it something you want in the Commonplace book? This obviously takes time. If it's not just a one-off thing, if you're really going back and going through all of your notes in a book, you're going to want to set aside time for this, and you don't want to be very distracted for it either, because it's almost like reading the book in a half an hour or an hour instead of the many hours it may have taken you, because you're really refreshing yourself on these topics. So instead of thinking of it as something that you can multitask while watching TV, I would really think about it as that moment of reflection and as a rereading time. So it's almost like if you make time to read, this might be something that you do within one of those blocks of time that you read. I also write the subtopic at the top of the card. So maybe it was a gratuitous type of card, but there was something more specific that it touched on. That if I'm flipping through my gratitude box, I would see the subtopic at the top and go, that's exactly what I needed right now. I'm going to pull that one out and see what the actual passage said. So that's fun because these subtopics don't have to be perfect. They can just be whatever I think is the thing I'm going to want to remember in the future if I'm looking for something more quickly. So once I've written out all those passages and all of those quotes and I've got a stack of cards, it's time to go to the book and actually file them. And this is the easy part, especially after you've started the Commonplace book and you've already got some of those overarching topics defined in your card boxes. If you don't, just start to look at what the high points were of all of your cards. Separate them into different piles so that if you think they kind of belong together, even if the subtopics might be slightly different, or maybe you don't go with any subtopics at all. You've got all your gratitude cards together, and now you just need to stick it in the gratitude box. I used a label maker to kind of print out what those topics were, and then as you go, you're going to say, oh wow, I've got a whole new topic I need to add here. I feel like these cards don't belong in any of these other boxes, and so I'm going to create a new label for that section. I like this because the more organized you are in the box, the more the time on reflection is spent, not the time on organizing your notes. The notes are done, you've already reflected on them, you spent a lot of time on that, you've labeled them accordingly so you can just pop them where they need to go and you're done. As a creator, this box has been a total saving grace. The thing about it is I create content on a regular basis. It's, you know, twice a week on YouTube regularly. It's somewhat regularly on my Instagram, very regularly in Instagram stories. I might write a little something of my thoughts on LinkedIn sometimes. And so the thing about it is being consistent is important, but we're not creative all the time. We need to be able to help sort of jumpstart that creativity when we're in a little bit of a deadline situation, or at least that's how I feel about it. So sometimes when I'm like, I know I need to write about gratitude today, but I don't know what to say, I'm gonna need a little bit of inspo from my mentors. And a lot of those mentors are people that I have read over the years in all of these different books, different blog posts, different tweets, whatever the case may be, anything that I wrote. So if I go into my Commonplace book, I can kind of say, I know what my theme of the day is. Let me pull that box. Let me find the quote that was most interesting to me on that day and use it to drive me forward. This Commonplace book has been tremendous for me as a creator to be able to say like, oh yeah, someday when I make a video about that, this is going to be a great quote for me to pull. And so that's really what it's been like for me. Whether or not you are a creator or just a bibliophile or just somebody who likes a good quote, I really think that this is a fun little thing to do. And if nothing else, if you've just been thinking, how do I keep track of all this stuff? Make it a digital file, put it on your phone, and it's something that you can pull up anytime you want, whether it's in the Notes app or a document, it doesn't really matter. Obviously, that's endlessly fillable as well. This is just what I've found to be enjoyable, especially with these good habits that we tend to have in our lives that I don't feel the need to like go to Twitter and be like, hey guys, I read 3 books today. That doesn't make the reading experience more fun for me. The reading experience is good for me because I like to get information and I like to know things and not be able to unknow them. That's exciting for me because I feel like it moves me forward in my life and in my wisdom. But I also like being able to go like, oh, look at me. Read a book. So now I'm gonna put all those thoughts in a place, and I feel like it puts the cap on the reading experience, especially because the more I value my time in my life, I find I don't want to read the entirety of some books. I can start to pick up on the fact that they're not all great, but they do have some good in them, and I want to give them the time of day, and I want to read a little bit, and I want to take something from them, but I don't always have time to finish them. And as somebody who's inherently a finisher, that's hard for me. But when I'm able to take the few things I did learn and put them in my Commonplace book and say, you know what, I think I'm done with that book, I feel like I still finished it in a way. So this has really been a tactic that has helped me in a lot of ways to move forward and not spend time on things unnecessarily. I really want to give a big shout out to Ryan. He's made a big impact in my life. I've talked about him a few times here. I'm hoping to bring him onto the channel at some point, so let me know if you guys would enjoy that. But in the meantime, will you please go check out his YouTube channel, because I think what he's sharing with the world is so fascinating. I think you would love it, and if you subscribed to him as a favor to me, I think that you would be helping to move more positive content into the world. And I think that's why we're all really here. Also, everything that I mentioned, the note cards, the Commonplace book, what I'm using to create it, I will link in the description below. All right, your question of the day. You heard how I like using a Commonplace book and what I use it for. How might you use a Commonplace book in your life? Share that in the comments below. All right, a little update for the end of the video for those of you who are still hanging with me. Hi, how are you? It is a time of Thanksgiving for me and probably for a lot of you, and so I wanted to take this opportunity to say that I hope you spend a beautiful holiday with your family, and I hope you really sit in it and lock eyes with those people, because we don't get to do this very often, right? It's the end of the year, so we get to do it a little bit more often, so appreciate those people around you. But let me lock eyes with you right now and say thank you so much. You don't know what your time and attention means to me when you tune into these videos, whether it's every time or every once in a while or even on Instagram, anything that you do to support me. I want you to hear it every single day, but because I can't tell you every single day, I need to tell you now. More than ever, it means a lot to me. It means a lot to me. You are quite literally the reason that I'm able to live my dream every single day. And even though sometimes living your dream is a job that can be really hard and have its trials and tribulations and growth spurts, what are those called? Where it's like, oh God, I don't know if I asked for this. Sometimes those things happen, and no matter what, I never change my mind about what I'm doing, because I know how many of you have expressed to me the difference it's made for you. So just thank you. If I don't say it enough, thank you for being here. Truly. From my heart. As a form of thanks, I hope it's a form of thanks, I wanted to share some interesting news for the coming videos. It is going to be December 1st on Sunday when the next video is scheduled to go out. As you know, I publish every Sunday and Wednesday. However, because it is December and I love all things festive, I'm going to be participating in Vlogmas this year. So, you know what that means. Every day from December 1st to the 25th, God willing, there is going to be a new video on this channel. Partially because I love the campaign of Vlogmas. It's so much fun. And also because I've got a little bit more help to help me get it done for you. And also because Good Morning Good Life is coming out on December 10th. And I just felt like all of those things were a magical mix of loveliness. And so, yeah. So tune in every day, 4 o'clock, starting December 1st, Eastern time, by the way, for a new video. It's gonna be fun because it'll be great to kind of get out of the office a little bit, right? We'll do some stuff here, we'll do some stuff out, and I have a lot of stuff to update you on. I feel like there's been some things happening that I've been alluding to, things that I've been telling you about, like the book, but also some things I haven't been talking to you about, and I finally get to share that with you. I feel like this is the best way to do that. So make sure you're subscribed and you've got notifications turned on. Again, 4 o'clock Eastern time, new videos, and I'd love for you to hang out with me for that, especially as we count down the new book. It's gonna be great, I hope. That's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate it as always. Make sure you subscribe for good vibes, kiss the ones you love, and go after the life that you want. Cheers. Hey, are you struggling to find time for the things you love? Feel like you're constantly on the go, but taking care of everyone else first? You are not alone, and you deserve so much more. Not only are you capable of taking on this challenge, you already have all the tools it takes to make it happen. That resourcefulness is all you need to get activated by your new daily mantra. Good morning, good life. It's my new book, and it launches on Amazon on December 10th. More details at goodmorninggoodlife.com. Well, that was solid for once. Oh, sorry, I thought I was going to continue that sentence, and then I suddenly didn't. Amy's hair is falling down, falling down, falling down. Oh, look at me. Read a book.